Okay, great. Okay, we're going to get started in a moment. It's a little dancing flame. Okay. Okay, yeah, good. 2 pieces. You got 2 pieces of paper? Everybody's good? All right. Let's drop in. Let's close our eyes and settle in for a moment together. Sitting up, feeling your chest buoyant, but shoulders relaxed. And take a few deep, intentional breaths and releasing tension with the out breath. You can even sigh if you want to. Let the jaw go, let the tongue hang out of your mouth. You're warming up to embody the demon in a moment. Good. And then let's spend a few moments breathing together in the belly, feeling the belly rise and fall with the breath, releasing tension with the out breath. And let yourself arrive more fully in the body, in the moment, in the room. And help to feel the tactile sensations of the seat beneath your hips and legs. The clothes against your skin, the palms of the hands down on the thighs as a grounding gesture can be nice if you like, as you wish. And when we get quiet in meditation, we turn towards the inner space, the inner life. Feel that turning inwards, and feel that it's not just a limited space contained within the head or the body. It's actually this limitless space that we turn towards. And let that spaciousness pervade every cell of your body, your knowing of your limitless capacity for the imaginal space, liberation from myopic, small-minded, or tight, clinging ways of feeling the world and feeling ourselves. So with each breath, it's like the space between the atoms is expanding and releasing. That we are space. We are 99.999% space. Feel that. You might feel a vibration of prana or blood flow, sensation rising and falling. It's in this field of awareness. And trusting this inner space. Rather than being a void, it's a warm womb of totality, of infinite possibilities. And it's this space of that loving awareness or pristine rigpa, pristine awareness, this primordial consciousness that we actually arrive at in the final 5th step of feeding your demons. So I wanted to give you an invitation to start from this ground. It's called the resultant vehicle. The result is in the seed. The result is there all along. Your Buddha nature. I am that. Soham. The simple presence of being, this natural beingness of non-meditation, that's the true meditation. Free of contrivance or effort or posturing or trying to be something you're not. Instead, we release into presence, this naturalness. Just letting yourself be. Leave yourself alone. Let yourself be natural. At ease within yourself. With each breath, letting go of tension, of clinging, fixation, this natural liberation. You can open your eyes now. So that is the ground. That is the foundation of Dharma, of liberation, of your true nature, and of this feeding your demons practice. So what I love about Dharma, Buddha Dharma, and probably Hindu, Jain, other forms of Dharma, but I'm not as familiar with those, is that they give you the answer right away. They're not like, oh, pay, $19.99 and you will get access to the higher Patreon page of like liberation. Like they lay it out for you from the get-go. Ground of being, natural state. They give that, knowing that some people will get it right away because the karmas are ready and ripe. Past lifetimes, perhaps, something. But other folks won't quite be ready for that. But it's nice to plant the seed, and then there's some more toil, hard work that needs to happen for us to feel like we've earned it. Right? The resultant vehicle, this is Vajrayana, right? The tantric path is called the result vehicle, the yana, the result yana or vehicle. Why? Because they lay it out. They tell you the result, liberation, what it is, how it's experienced. Right away. It's the first thing. When you read the tantric texts on Vajrayana, usually the first few stanzas are the advanced stuff, because they're hoping whoever's ready for it will get it. And then they say, and for those of us, like most of us who aren't ready, here's some more explanation. And then they go on and give you more kind of structure and the rules, or the, Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path and the do's and the don'ts and methods to find your way back to that thing that was laid out from the very beginning. So I want you to have that feeling of like, oh, okay, this is the fifth step. There are 5 steps in feeding your demons. The 5th step is resting in awareness. So this is like feeding your demons is a personal process work. You might not call it a meditation. Okay? But it depends on how you define meditation. In Tibetan, the word for meditation is gom, G-O-M. In Sanskrit, it's bhavana. It's to cultivate, to familiarize yourself with something. So sometimes it's the breath, sometimes it's the nature of mind, sometimes it's a mantra, sometimes it's compassion, loving kindness. You're familiarizing, you're gompa-ing it, you're goming it, you're bhavana-ing it. You're familiarizing yourself with something. So yeah, feeding your demons could be called a meditation, but really it's more of like a personal process technique that ends with the Gompa. It ends with the fifth step of resting in awareness. And Lama Tsultrim Allione, who developed this, my teacher, says that that's what makes this quintessentially Buddhist, is you've got that meditation fifth step where you're resting in awareness. Otherwise, the first four steps are very similar to empty chair therapy, Gestalt, dialogue therapy, beautiful techniques. And she benefited from it in her life. And she felt that it could help people access the wisdom of what's called the Chöd practice, which is severance. And this is the source of feeding your demons, is this beautiful practice of Vajrayana, a tantric practice from Tibet that was taught, kind of developed by and then taught by an 11th century yogini, a woman teacher named Machig Labdrön. Machig Labdrön. Machig means the one mother. Lapdrön is the lamp. Drön means lamp. Lap is her clan name. So the light of Lap, the one mother. Famous, one of the most famous women teachers from Tibet. 11th century. So she developed teachings. She was a nun, and she developed the qualities that she was studying through meditation and practice, especially studying the Prajnaparamita Sutras, the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras from the Mahayana, the great vehicle of Buddhism that came from Mother India and spread throughout all of Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, United States, all around the world. This great vehicle emphasizes emptiness and compassion, these main themes of understanding the interdependent empty nature of phenomena, imbued with compassion. Because of interdependence, we we recognize we are not separate from others. And because of that, we should regard all beings like our family. And in fact, they say we all have been reborn countless times so that we have all been each other's parents at one time or another. Think about that. Everybody in this room, we're related. You've been my parents, I've been your parents. We've got karma. Everybody. So it's not special. You know, people are like, oh, we must have karma. Well, we all have karma. Countless lives. Insects, birds, dolphins, humans, amoebas, sentient beings now. I mean, they're really starting to prove that even plants are sentient, right? There's more very interesting Fresh Air interview recently with a journalist who's reporting on some of the more recent findings of sentience and agency and what is consciousness. Very interesting. So maybe we've also been trees and seaweed and other things like that. Okay, so this practice, feeding your demons, that we'll dive into in a moment, is a blend of this ancient practice called Chöd, which was established by Machig Labdrön. And Chöd is a healing ceremony. It's not only like a meditative practice, but it also became like a ritual done. So how many people know the Chöd practice or have learned it? Yeah, okay. So a handful of folks. It's done with a large double-sided drum. It's about this big around, double-sided, held in the right hand. And it's like played at the same pace usually of like your heartbeat. It's kind of haunting, slow, and then sometimes it quickens. It's beautiful. And then the left hand holds the bell. And so you do them both simultaneously. And while you're playing these various rhythms, you are chanting and singing. You're chanting mantra, you're singing prayers for your own healing and liberation and for the healing and liberation of others. And the core of this ritual called Chöd, that's based on Mahayana teachings of emptiness and compassion, all of that, is to realize the empty nature of yourself, right? That's the core of the Buddha's teaching. And one of the aspects of the Chöd practice is at a certain point, we do what's called the body offering. The body offering. It's called lujin. Lujin. Lu means body, jin means gift or offering. And it's this kind of edgy practice of like, okay, this moment where in the practice where we give what we hold most precious, which is our body, and we imagine that it becomes nectar, and we feed all beings to complete satisfaction. It's like the heart of the Chöd practice. And what's interesting in the Chöd, what happens, which isn't what happens in the Feeding Your Demons, because it's a bit simplified in Feeding Your Demons, is that during the Lujin, before you offer your body, you actually leave your body. You imagine that your consciousness that's sitting at the heart chakra exits through the central channel, up and out through the crown of your head, shoots out with a pop, the sound of shooting up and out, and you become the blue-black Dakini, Trima Nakmo, the blue-black goddess, fierce, dancing in space, wild, free. She's got a hook knife. And with the hook knife, do you know what she does? It's so radical. So you're her. So you've left your old body, right? You've shot your consciousness out through the crown of your head. You've merged with the blue-black Dakini. You are her now, dancing in space. So as Trima, you reach down and grab your old corpse and you imagine that you sever the crown of the head, and then you lay it on a tripod of skulls, and it becomes a cauldron. And the rest of the body flops down, and you cut up the rest of the body, and you throw it in the skull cup, which has increased by 3,000-fold. Someone did the math once in one of the Chöd retreats, and they said it's about the size of a football field. I don't know if that's accurate. There's probably somebody in this room who can do better math. Somebody challenged that once, but it's big. So like your small skull cup, you imagine it becomes as big as a football field. Sometimes like we've done Chöd at the Lake Merritt, and I've imagined Lake Merritt like the cauldron, it's big. And the body goes in there and you're dancing and there's a fire below, which symbolizes the inner heat. And then there's nectar dropping from above, which symbolizes the nectar from the crown chakra dripping down. These things cook the body, and it transforms the body, the heat of the feminine kundalini from below and the masculine lunar energy from above, transform the body into nectar. And as the blue-black Dakini, you invite all beings to the feast. You first invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Come to my party. Come eat to complete satisfaction. They don't need the offering because they're perfect just as they are, but we're establishing a karmic link with them. We're making the offering. Generosity. They come and they consume the nectar. Sometimes they say with rainbow straws. It's so far out. These people didn't have Netflix, right? So like, that's my joke. Like Vajrayana with all the visualization, the mind is infinite, what we can do. And we are losing that with our two-dimensional fucking screens, right? So you're here right now to expand this again, because it's there, it's in all of us. And then after the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas come, then you invite the protectors. So the protectors come. And often they're represented to be like wolves, they like flesh and blood. And so then you imagine that the nectar is flesh and blood. It's whatever they want it to be. And they feed it to complete satisfaction. The protectors are energies that protect the Dharma so that it doesn't die off or get distorted, but also protect us and the land. Beings. So that can be anything, any type of energy, your protectors, any kind of energies or figures that have helped you in your life. you're not going to do this, but I want you to go there so your mind gets blown a little bit so that when you do the actual feeding your demons practice, you're ready for anything. Then as Trima, you would invite the disease-bearing beings, the obstacle makers, and the debt holders. So anyone that you would have karmic debt with, your bank, your parents, your ex, karmic debt, not just money, but like anyways, like any problem, anything that's any unresolved. And there are past lifetimes too, right? So it's just like you just imagine all of those karmic debtors come and feed to complete satisfaction so they leave you alone. No more. They're done. You paid back all your loans. Disease-bearing beings, you feed them to complete satisfaction so that they no longer cause harm in you or in others. This is why the Chöd was considered a healing ceremony. Chöd practitioners would be invited to come and do the ritual in villages that were experiencing illnesses or pandemics, or even if like flocks of sheep or herds of yaks in Tibet, if they were having some kind of epidemic, the people would invite the Chöd practitioners in to perform healing ceremonies for the animals, the humans, and the land. There's imbalance. So those disease-bearing beings would be fed to complete satisfaction. And then the obstacle makers, any energies that create obstacles in your life to liberation, to healing, they are fed to complete satisfaction. And then the last group is everybody else, called the 6 realms, the hell realms. All the hell beings you invite to the feast. Feed them to complete satisfaction. The hungry ghosts. I love this image, the hungry ghosts. This realm, just one up from the hell realm. They have distended bellies and then tiny little necks, like a needle. And then large mouth, always hungry, never able to feel satisfied. That's our modern capitalist consumer culture, So those energies are fed. Then all the animals are fed to complete satisfaction. Then the human realm. So you could imagine people who are in famine, areas of famine, or need that kind of nourishment, coming to the feast, feeding to complete satisfaction. And then one up from the human realm is the jealous God realm. The jealous God realm. They're like above, they're the kind of more blissed out than the humans. They're not limited by the flesh and bone body, but they're still kind of ruled by craving and aversion and jealousy, always battling. It's kind of like the Greek gods or the Hindu gods, kind of like the Buddhists. The Buddhists always had to have one up from the Hindus. It was always like a, whose dick is bigger, like. Excuse me, I just, I've got to keep your attention, I got to say crazy shit in case you start spacing out. And then above the jealous gods is the God realm. It's the God realm. They're blissed out. They've accrued a certain amount of karma where they don't have to take rebirth in a womb anymore. They don't get sciatica. They live for eons, but eventually their good karma wears off and they descend down into the lower realms again. So they're not liberated. They're not Buddhas yet. So gods and Buddhas are different in the Buddhist cosmology. So all of these beings are fed to complete satisfaction in this feast. So my teacher, Lama Tsultrim, she learned this practice back in the 70s and 80s from Namkhai Norbu Rinpoche. How many people know Namkhai Norbu Rinpoche stuff? Yeah, brilliant. He was the first Tibetan teacher to teach the Chöd in the West. And she was amongst his first students. She was there at the first retreat. She said there were like 7 of them that learned the Chöd first. And he was living in Italy, teaching in Rome at a university. Very fine scholar, Namkhai Norbu Rinpoche. And he taught it. She practiced, did many years of practice. He asked her to help to start teaching it to Westerners. So she did that for a long time, many years. And she found that Westerners were drawn to the Chöd practice, but weren't always getting the gestalt of it because it's sung in Tibetan, it's foreign. You're playing this drum and playing the bell and chanting in a different language. It's beautiful and transformative in many ways, but if you're not really understanding the main thrust of this letting go of ego fixation, letting go of your identity as only being the body, opening into something greater, and then letting go, offering, feast. So she also had been doing, I guess, her own types of therapies and had colleagues and friends who were therapists, and they began to talk about, well, this lujong, this body offering is so transformative because you feed rather than fight the so-called demons, the obstacle makers. So instead of struggling and battling like Hercules, trying to chop off the heads of the what is it? The Hydra. Thank you. You just read the book. Instead of battling and killing these demons that we don't want, or resisting and fighting these parts of ourselves, how about turn towards it? Ask it, why are you here? What do you need? What do you have to tell me? You're here for a reason, and then listen to it and then feed it what it really needs rather than fighting it. And that is the brilliance of this practice of Chöd, and then also of feeding your demons. So Lama Tsultrim says feeding your demons is like Chöd in Western clothing. Chöd in Western clothing, okay? And so we will move through this in the 5 steps where we first, so she integrated Gestalt therapy with the Chöd practice. So that's what this is, a blending. So the 5 steps take us through this process of first somatically. It's a somatic practice, my friends. It's not an intellectual, like understanding your story, right? It's somatic. We drop into the body in the first step and we feel whatever it is we're going to work with, whatever is challenging us, whatever demon, so-called demon we're going to work with. We feel it in our body. So say if it's self-critic. Okay, where does the self-critic live in my body? Oh, it's right behind the eyes or in the jaw. And then I'll guide you through feeling the various textures, colors, shape, sensation of that feeling in the body. And then the second step is to personify it as a being in front of you. So we get some space from it for some time. Allow it to take form. And this is why I told you these wild stories, because I want your imagination to start shaking up, feel free. Like Carl Jung said that the subconscious communicates through imagery. So imagery will start to come up. Trust that imagery. Don't edit it. First thought, best thought. All right? Just trust it. Everything's right here. It's not like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. I didn't get a really cool image. I'm just getting, I always say Mickey Mouse, because one time Mickey Mouse came to me. I was like, oh, Mickey Mouse? I don't want Mickey Mouse. But it wound up being a really cool trip through the 5 steps because I knew enough to trust it. All right. So please, first thought, best thought, trust the imagery that's coming up. It's a gift from the unconscious, subconscious. And then we'll dialogue with it. And then we get to become it. And I'll ask you to switch positions. You'll pivot on your seat. And then we'll feed it to complete satisfaction after dialoguing with it. And then you'll get to meet the ally. The ally is the liberated energy of the knot of the demon. So you can think of the demon as like kind of a knotted up tightness around something, confusion or trauma or some kind of distortion that happened at some point in our life. And then as we meet it, dialogue with it, become it, speak as it, give it the space to be, it starts to loosen up, and then it becomes more liberated. And that is the energy of the ally. And then we dialogue with the ally. We become the ally. We speak as the ally. Okay. So tonight is special because I'm integrating art into it. So normally you would just do it, move through the 5 steps, and then you could journal at the end. You have your little journal sheet. That's something you can take home with you. If we have time, you can journal after the session too. But tonight, the focus is the art making, and don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I will invite you to pause after you see the demon in front of you and spend some time sketching it, just freely. Don't be like, oh, it doesn't look exactly like what I saw. Don't worry about it. Let the art making process of moving the hand, this communication from the heart and the mind through the hand as you draw, be an extension of the therapeutic aspect of this practice. You understand? Art making is freeing it in its own way. So it's not about making it look exactly like what you saw. It's about feeling it living through you as you make the shapes and the colors. And you'll also notice the environment that the demon is in. So you could draw that too. Fill up this page. Then after you've spent some time doing that, I'll invite you to put it in front of you. We'll move through the steps. And then again, when we do the ally, and you've seen the ally, I'll have you pause and draw the ally. Okay? So possible demons could be, like I mentioned, the critic. I'm not a good artist. That's a so-called demon. Demons are anything that block your experience of freedom. So feel into that right now. Like, what brought you here? What is blocking your experience of freedom in your life? Fear, low self-esteem, tension, anxiety, illness. So you can also work with physical stuff. You don't have to know why it's there, what the story is behind it. Some things are mysterious. All you have to do is feel it and let it take form and move through the 5 steps. Chronic illness. That could be a demon. The root of the word demon is daemon. Daemon is the inner guide in the Greek culture. Daemon. D-A-I-M-A-N or D-A-E-M-A-N. Daemon. The Roman translation of daemon, does anybody know what that is? Genius. What is your inner genius? These so-called demons are actually daemons here to teach us something. Your suffering, it's a teacher. I know. I've had some health challenges lately. I'm learning, So how do we feed rather than fight these aspects of ourselves so they can come home and be whole? These are all aspects of ourselves, the demon and the ally. They're not some things out there. People who know parts work with the IFS, it's similar. It's very conducive to IFS work. Okay, any questions, comments before we dive in? I'll let you move your body for a little bit before we, and don't worry, you're not going to be sitting static the whole time. You will be switching positions, so you will move as you switch to become the demon and become the ally. But before we do that, any questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Tell me your name first.
Oh, Dorothy.
Dorothy, right? Okay.
Yeah, so just getting to that underlying that it's a guide. I mean, sometimes those guides feel like they're actually benevolent, even if they're using kind of wrathful or destructive ways. So are the ally and the demon actually two separate, or is it maybe like more connected than that?
You can feel them as like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, that's what it feels like inside.
Totally.
Okay, cool.
Or the demon is the knot, and the ally is the liberated wisdom energy that was tied up within the knot. It's expressing itself in its full beauty and majesty rather than its distorted fear pattern. You see?
Okay. Yeah, no, it's super helpful.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. Yes.
In the intro meditation.
Tell me your name first.
Oh, I'm Lady Red.
Lady Red.
Yeah.
Welcome.
In the intro meditation, you said something nice, but like leave yourself alone, or stop trying to change your state, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, I don't know, I often try and orient to that.
Yes.
But then I try to orient to not doing anything. I don't know. That doesn't like make any sense, does it? But the question
I know
is,
what you mean.
how do you hold that and then also try
Yeah,
to figure out
good.
where your demon is?
Thank you. Questions teachers are like drums. You have to bang on them to get them to make sound. Like good questions help the teacher. Oh yeah, I didn't tie that in very much. So yeah, sometimes we can just let ourselves be, right? And you could just arrive and you're there and it's kind of easy. That's a gift. Often we've got these little things that are like distraction or worry or, something that's in the way of that letting go and letting be. So the feeding your demons is a great way to work with those little things. I say like feeding your demons kind of like internal house cleaning. Clean it up, address it, feed it, and then there's this kind of settling that happens so that when you get to the fifth step, you arrive. You can let yourself be. So this is like 4 steps that get you to that, if you need it, to get to that natural state. Some days you don't need it and you just enter into 5th step. Lama Tsultrim talks about that in her book. Now, this kind of direct liberation where you just go right in, you just drop you just go right into it. Sometimes you might feel like the demon come up, and instead of like, oh, bye everybody, I got to go over here and do a half hour of feeding your demons, if you're familiar with the idea behind the practice, you can actually just directly feed it and let go and release and open. She calls it feeding on the go. But yeah, that is the foundation. You are perfect just as you are. And yet sometimes, we've got some dirt on the gold nugget that we've got to wash off a little bit so that the gold nugget can shine. Or we got to clean the mirror. Because it's those other people who dirty the mirror up for us, and now we've got to do the cleanup. Okay, yes.
So just following on your answer to her first question.
Dorothy, what's your name again?
James.
Yes.
I could see with what I'm talking about, like my own intellectualizing of the demon and what it needs, and if I'm there searching then for, okay, how is the ally, the other side of this, then I might be.
You don't need to
think.
just
let whatever comes up.
Totally. So now you kind of have the layer.
It doesn't have to like match, or it doesn't.
No, it doesn't have to match. Yeah. Nothing. No control. Okay.
Completely different and seem to have no relationship.
Totally. If you tend to control, maybe you can feed that as your demon tonight. Like anytime you sense that this, oh, it doesn't look quite right, or it doesn't tie in, or I don't understand why the ally's looking, it doesn't seem like it ties into the demon, don't worry about it. Just let it. Trust the process. Trust the scaffolding of the 5 steps. Sometimes strong emotions will come up. Trust to just stay with the 5 steps. Stay with my voice. Stay with me. Don't drop off and bail ship. Okay, stay with me. Because by the end of the process, there's a feeling of resolution. The emotion is a wave that crashes, and it has its resolution. So if you abandon it right there, it's a little hard to get back to the integration. Let the tears come, let the feelings come through. I'm not saying don't do that, but stay with me, please. Okay, stay with me. Your eyes will be closed the whole time. You're not talking to people. You're in your own experience. Yes. Say your name, please, for everybody. Darren.
It sounds like it's possible to imagine many demons.
Oh yeah.
Practice is okay. Just stick with one. We'll deal with one.
Well, per session. Yeah.
And then maybe we'll deal with the others later.
Totally. I mean, to get certified, I had to do 108 sessions. Doesn't mean I had to find 108 different demons, but I had to sit and do the process 108 times. I had some core ones. You have core. You might have like a little posse, or a hydra. Lama Tsultrim in her book, Feeding Your Demons, which is a great resource, by the way. If you like this practice, get Feeding Your Demons. It's a really wonderful book. And she talks about the hydra. The hydra is this great image of like a core wound, like a core demon, but then all these offshoots of like many arms, many legs, many heads, like different behavioral coping mechanisms that we've developed from that core. So say maybe you have an abandonment demon, like core wound there, core fear. Then you might be very codependent in relationships, or afraid of, being left behind, or of being left out. You might mask over this the sadness with alcohol or drugs or different behaviors, addictions. So those are like the arms and the legs and the heads of a hydra, but we can work from the outside to the core, or we can work the core to the outside. So if you were to do the training, you would be drawing hydra maps, you'd be doing all these different sessions, getting to know all these different parts of yourself and integrating and learning about that. We do a body map of where the different demons live in the body. It's really cool. There's so much. This art is just a little window into how you can take this in a lot of different directions. But for each session, yeah, pick one. And you might have, there are a bunch of them in here right now. Pick the issue that is the most up for you right now. It doesn't have to be the big one, it doesn't have to be your big thing. It can be something a little bit more like an irritant, something that's with you and it's always kind of bugging you, but it doesn't cause you to suffer immensely. On a scale from 1 to 10, you can choose anything in here. Lama Tsultrim never limits people, but my therapist friends who do feeding your demons, they're like, encourage people for the first time to stick with maybe a 4 or 5 on the like big scale, but really it's up to you. Whatever is up most strongly for you right now, go with it because you're feeling it. It's here with you. It wants to be heard. Okay? You ready to dive in? Well, before we do, let's all stand up. The little movement's nice to open us up. You can just sort of do whatever you want. I can do some things up here. If you want to follow me, you can, or just follow your intuition. You can interlace your fingers maybe and reach overhead, stretching the spine. Without hurting your neighbor, it can be nice to inhale, then inhale. Just shake things out, shake out your legs. If you've got muscle tension in the shoulders, it can be nice to make fists and drop them heavy on your shoulders and as you release the hands down. Breathing deep, letting out tension with the out breath. Good. And then if you want to do some twisting. Good. And then if you want, you can squat or fold forward, stretching the back, hamstrings. Shake out the neck and head, loosen up. Any tension in the jaw and the neck. And then come into a squat. It can be nice to kind of shift from side to side, loosen up the hips a little bit. Good. And then slowly find your way to your cushion. And have all of your stuff kind of off to the side. So you're going to want it within arm's reach, but you want an empty space in front of you. Yeah, your block can be there because that's where you're going to put, if you have a block in front of you or a little orange pillow in front of you, that's where you're going to place your drawing of the demon. So have that in front of you. And, you might have lingering questions. It's just, I think that the best thing is to have a direct experience of the process, and then we'll have time at the end for discussion too. Good. If you have a water bottle, or I really don't want water bottles crashing during the practice because it's going to distract people. It's one of my pet peeves. So, make sure it's not going to get knocked. Yeah, and you can put your personal items over there if you feel cramped. You can do that. You don't have to, but you can. Yeah. Good. Okay, my courageous journeyers into the depths of your psyche. Remember, the only way out is in. And the greatest journey is the inner journey, as Rilke says. Now let's close our eyes. close our eyes, begin to take some deep breaths. I'll guide you through some relaxation breathing, and then I'll give you some time to think about what you want to work with today. So don't worry if you don't know right now. You might have an inkling of what you're going to work with. And if you don't, that's fine. Often when we drop into a little bit more relaxation, that becomes more clear. So if you're comfortable with the eyes closed, close them and keep them closed for most of the process. If that's not comfortable, you can slightly open them, allowing a little bit of light in. We'll begin with 9 relaxation breaths. So for the first few breaths, breathe into any physical tension you might be holding in your body. Then hooking that tension with the breath, release it with the out breath. And then with your next few breaths, breathe into any emotional tension you're holding. Notice where you're holding emotional tension in your body, then hooking it with the in-breath. Hooking that tension with the breath, release it with the out-breath. And then with your last few breaths here, breathe into any mental tension or worries you're holding. Notice where you're holding mental tension, like concerns or worries in your body. Notice where you're holding mental tension in your body, then hooking that tension with the breath. Release it with the out breath. And then we'll take a moment to generate a heartfelt motivation to practice for the benefit of yourself and others. Knowing that our practice, our personal development and growth ripples out. We practice for our own benefit and the benefit of all beings. And now let's take some time to drop into and feel into what we want to work with tonight. Feeling what might be most at the surface, what's been nagging at you, bothering you, eating at you. Blocking your experience of freedom in your life. And then consciously, really, when you know what you want to work with, really center that. There might be other feelings here, but bring this to the forefront. This is what I'm working with, the demon of doubt or the demon of fear, anxiety, whatever it is. You could even name it. This is my demon of, fill in the blank, if you want. And then moving into the first step of the 5 steps, which is to feel this so-called demon in your body. Feel where you're holding it most strongly in your body. So scan the body. It may be in one place or spread out in a couple places. Feel where it's held most strongly in your body. And what is the shape of the feeling? What is its color? What is its texture? What is its temperature? Is it hot or cold, warm, neutral? And remember, if strong emotions come up, that's okay. Let them come like a wave crashing. Keep breathing and following the instructions, allowing it to be here in this space, but without getting lost in the story. Don't let the mind co-opt the process. Stay in the body. What is the density of the feeling in the body? Is it dense or more effervescent, or like the body density? And then just for a moment, intensify this sensation. You can even remember a time in your life when you felt it most strongly. And now, allow this sensation, allow the so-called demon to move out of your body and become personified in front of you as a being with limbs, a face, eyes, and so on. If it helps you, you can make a gesture with your hands to allow this energy to move out of your body for the time being and become manifest as a being in front of you. And notice what you see. Even if it's not clear, that's fine. Maybe you see an orb of light or a vapor, but it will become more clear over time. Just trust. Notice what you see. And if an inanimate object appears, imagine what it would look like if it were an animate being, because we're going to dialogue with it. What would it look like if it had a face and eyes and limbs? And what is its size? What is its color? What is the surface of its body like? What is its density? Does it have a gender? What is its character like? What is its emotional state? What is the look in its eyes? Now notice something about it that you didn't see before. And now we'll pause and you'll reach for your paper and your colors. And we're going to spend some time now drawing this demon that you've seen. And remembering to stay loose with it. Shape, remembering the shape, the texture, the size, the colors, the look in its eyes. Maybe you noticed its environment. Take up the whole paper. And even don't let the hands stop moving even. Let it be loose, like stream of consciousness drawing. Really fill up the whole space of the page as much as you can. If you need another color, you could see if there's more colors there for you up on the counter. This is for you. It's not for anyone else. It's for you. If you feel like you're complete with the drawing, you could also make some notes around the drawing, like this is the demon of da-da-da, and, feels like this. You could list the texture, the color, the shape, so you could journal about it around the image. Be creative here. This is your sheet of paper. Or you can close your eyes and sit with it and be with the demon, noticing its character. Okay, about 30 more seconds. Knowing you can always come back to it later if you wish. Okay, good. So, wrapping it up, and what you're going to do is put this drawing of the demon on the empty block or cushion in front of you. Oh. Yeah, the chair folks can take a chair and turn it towards you. Turn a chair towards you, even. Like that. So you're putting it there, so the image is there, but then close your eyes and come back into that inner space. Feel, see, sense this being in front of you again with its shape, its color, its character. Look into its eyes. Good. And noticing its environment, perhaps you didn't notice that before. Really feeling and sensing the demon in front of you. Let's all come into this moment together here where you're closing your eyes and you're seeing and feeling this demon in front of you. And we're going to ask this demon 3 questions, one by one, out loud, without waiting for the answer, because you'll switch positions right after we ask them, and you'll become the demon and answer as the demon. So repeat after me out loud. What do you want? What do you want? What do you really need?
What do you really need?
How will you feel when you get what you really need?
How will you feel when you get what you really need?
So you really feel that you're connecting with the demon and you've asked these questions. What do you want? What do you really need? Meaning, what is the need beneath the want? And then how will you feel when you get what you really need? What's that feeling? So now, having asked those 3 questions, if you can, with the eyes closed, turn and face your original seat. So you can either pick up the picture and sit on the block or the cushion in front of you, which would be great if you have the space. Or you've got, a couple of you have actual pillows in front of you. You could sit on those. Facing your original seat. And take the picture of the demon and put it on your lap, facing your original self. So it's like you're holding it up, you're holding it in your lap, facing your original seat. Yeah, so hold it because you are the demon, right? So to hold that picture of the demon. And take a moment to settle in, really feel now what it's like to be in the demon's body. Feel free to take a gesture, a stance, an expression that helps you embody the energy of the demon. And notice how it feels to be the demon. And then imagine that you're looking at your normal self in front of you and notice, how does your normal self look from the demon's point of view? And now you'll answer the questions, speaking as the demon, but this time you'll speak internally, quietly. So I will say the beginning of each answer, and then you'll repeat the beginning and then complete the answer. This is internal, quiet. But you're speaking as the demon. Really let yourself be the demon. What I want is answering these questions as the demon. What I want is. What I really need is, this is that deeper, more tender need beneath the want. What I really need is. That's a mindfulness bell, inviting us to come back. What I really need is. And when I get what I really need, I will feel. When I get what I really need, I will feel. Finish the sentence. What is that feeling? The feeling you would have when you got what you really need. And take note of the answer to this last question, the feeling you would have when you get what you really need. And then when you're ready, slowly turn and come back to your original seat. Keeping your eyes closed as much as possible. You can put the demon drawing back on that seat in front of you now, facing you. And then settle back into your normal self. Take a moment. Settle back into your own body. And then see the demon again in front of you. With the eyes closed. With the eyes closed. Much as possible. And now, either dissolve your body into nectar that has the quality of the feeling you would have, the demon would have when it got what it really needed. So either dissolve your body into nectar or imagine that you create an infinite supply of nectar if you would prefer not to dissolve the body. Either way, feel an unending supply of nectar flowing from you to the demon, feeding it to complete satisfaction. Remembering this nectar has the quality of the feeling the demon would have when it got what it really needed. Might be love or wholeness or liberation, whatever that feeling is. Infuse that into the nectar and feed it to complete satisfaction. It could be light, it could be liquid, it could be rain, it could be anything. Let the imagination be free here. And notice the color of the nectar. Feeding the demon this nectar, and notice how the demon takes it in. An unending, infinite supply of nectar flows from you to the demon, feeding it to complete satisfaction. Stay with the process. The mind wanders, bring it back to this feeling of the flow of the nectar flowing from you to the demon. And notice, does it shape shift? Does it disappear? What happens as the demon takes in, receives the nectar? And if it's resisting the nectar, sometimes they do that. If it's resisting, remind it, this is what you said you would really want. This is that feeling you would have when you got what you really needed. So take it in. Offer it up. Feeding the nectar, complete satisfaction. And when the demon is completely satisfied, notice how it looks, or has it dissolved completely? And if it feels like it will never be satisfied, then imagine what it would look like if it were completely satisfied. And then notice, is there a being present now that the demon is completely satisfied? If there is, then ask it, are you my ally? If there isn't a being, then invite a being. Invite the ally to appear before you now. Same if it says no, then invite the ally and let it take center stage in front of you now. And notice what you see. Maybe you sense and feel more than see. Notice its size. Its color. What is the surface of its body like? What is its density? Does it have a gender? What is its character like? Remember, if an inanimate object appears, imagine what it would look like if it were personified, because we're going to dialogue with it. What would it look like if it had a face and eyes? What is its emotional state? What is the look in its eyes? Now notice something about the ally that you didn't see before. Now we'll pause and turn towards our art and take the other sheet of paper And begin to draw your ally. Again, letting this be an extension of the therapeutic process of the feeding your demons. Let the hand be free. Let the mind and heart be free as it moves your hand on the paper, the shape, the texture, the surface of its body, its gender, maybe, its character, the look in its eyes, that thing you noticed about it you didn't see before. Maybe its environment too. I'm going to walk around with a Kleenex box if anybody needs one. About 3 more minutes. Again, if you feel complete with the drawing, check in. Really? Maybe you can add some more texture. Characters of the environment or the look in its eye. Dig in there. What else is there? Sometimes it has a life of its own and it grows into something even beyond what you saw. Let it take on a life of its own. Maybe it changes. Maybe it's changing in real time right now. The imagery you see in the process is just a jumping off point. You could let that ally or that demon grow and change and tell you something more as you do the art. Or you could journal, take some time making notes. Or closing your eyes and just being with the ally now. About 30 more seconds. And now we'll bring this to a close. Just like you did with the demon, what you'll do is put the ally on the empty block or seat in front of you, facing you. And then close your eyes and see the ally in your mind's eye again. Its shape, its color, its character. Notice the look in its eyes again. So let's all come together now here, putting the drawing down and knowing you can come back to it later. And closing the eyes and really sensing, feeling, seeing the ally in front of you. And you're going to ask it some questions, repeating out loud after me. Really feeling connected with the ally. How will you help me? How will you help me? How will you protect me? How will you protect me? What pledge do you make to me?
What pledge do you make to me?
And how can I access you?
How can I access you?
Good. Now switch positions. Take the drawing of the ally, put it on your lap, and face your original seat. Holding that image on your lap, facing outward, allow the eyes to close, and really let yourself settle into the body of the ally. Feel free to take a gesture, a stance, an expression that helps you embody the energy of the ally. If you have to put the picture down, that's fine. But don't put the picture on the empty seat in front of you, because that's That's you. That's your old self. Put it off to the side. Yeah. And really embody the energy of the ally now. What does it feel like to be the ally? Don't hold back here. And then notice what your normal self looks like from the ally's point of view. And now, speaking as the ally, you'll quietly to yourself answer the questions. I'll give you the beginning, and then you can repeat the beginning and then finish it. It helps you really embody that answer, to say the full sentence. Speaking as the ally, I will help you by. I will protect you by. I pledge I will. I pledge I will. And you can access me by. You can access me by. And then when you're ready, switching back to your original seat and putting that drawing of the ally back on the ally's seat, facing you. Taking a moment to settle back into your normal self. The drawing of the ally is on that empty seat in front of you, facing you now. Then close your eyes, settling into your normal self, and then see the ally in front of you once again. Its radiance, its power, its potency. We feel the energy of the ally. Look into its eyes and feel its energy pouring into your body. And as the energy of the ally flows into your body, maybe you feel it entering the crown of your head or entering your heart or through all of your pores, flowing into your body. And it spreads all the way down to the soles of your feet, down into your fingertips, and throughout your whole body. Feel that you're receiving the blessings like an empowerment of the ally. Let yourself receive that. And then imagine that the ally dissolves into radiant light. Noticing the color of this light. And then feel this light dissolving into you, integrating this luminosity into every cell of your body. And notice the feeling of the integrated energy of the ally in your body. And then finally, now you, along with the integrated energy of the ally, dissolve. Dissolve into open, radiant awareness. The final step, resting in awareness. Rest in the state that is present after the dissolution. Let the mind be vast, open, free, unbound, without a center or periphery, vast like space, wakeful. It's the nature of your own mind, the ground of being. Chit tattva, mind itself. Allow yourself to just be, letting go. Open into that spacious experience. Primordial consciousness. Let the facial muscles relax. Shoulders relaxed, the jaw soft, belly receptive to the breath. Let yourself rest at ease, free of grasping, free of distraction. Stabilize in that expansive, unlimited space of awareness. Release distraction with the exhalation. Return to resting in awareness itself. Awareness that pervades thought, feeling. And now gradually begin to come back into your body, recalling the feeling of the energy of the ally in your body. Feeling the clothes, the texture against your skin, the breath in the belly. Your hips, your legs on your cushion, feet on the floor. You can even take your hands and feel put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly, coming back into your body and remembering this feeling of the integrated energy of the ally in your body. And then now begin to open your eyes, maintaining the feeling of the energy of the ally in your body. As you look around, you can look around the room. We can be quite tender when we come out of this space, but if you feel like you're open, you could turn to a neighbor and just one ally looking at the other ally. Resting in presence as you look at your sangha, your neighbors. They're not so scary. People are actually really good. When you get out in the world and travel, you're like, this world is filled with wonderful people. Good people. Okay, welcome back to Planet Alembic. So how was that for you? Does anybody want to share? It can be nice to even just share the imagery that came to you. If you want to share your drawing too, you could hold it up. You don't have to, but it can be fun. Show and tell. But this is for you. This is not performative, of course. But sometimes the imagery can speak 1,000 words, Somebody want to share how this was, or you can ask questions too. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Darren.
For me, it was really surprising. There was a moment when you said it's evolving in the moment as you venture into it.
Yeah.
It was just really fascinating. Without going into any specific details, I felt like it really came along.
Yeah, you let it. Yeah, it had the space to shift and evolve. It's beautiful. Yeah, good.
It's really surprising. Really had no idea that what manifested was.
Do you want to share the imagery? You don't have to, but it can be fun.
Well, the allies were joyful.
Uh-huh.
Like a warrior, elder, wise elder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And into the traditions and liberated the bodhisattva.
Yeah.
Personality.
Wonderful. How did it feel to draw the ally?
I don't think of myself as an artist at all.
Most people don't. It's okay.
I rarely draw.
But, yeah.
It was just like, oh, okay. Let it happen, and it kind of came together.
Nice. Thank you. Good. Yes, please say your name first. Paul. Oh, goody. Ooh.
Loops of infinity.
Maybe speak a little louder so we can hear you.
These are loops of infinity,
Loops of infinity.
at the center of which are eyes that can't close. Because
That-
of the unfairness of the hell realm and hungry ghost realm and all the realms.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that we use, everything is suffering. Why?
Yeah.
Ignorance. So the root, the hindrance is doubt,
Mm.
and it's the flavor is aversion,
Mm.
and it leads to annihilationism,
Yeah.
forced not to come back,
Yeah. Yeah.
but a lack of full faith in the Dharma.
A lack of full faith in the Dharma. Yeah. 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 That's real, you know. It's
So
calm.
it leads to liberation. It's
Mm.
trapped
Mm.
in the box, in the room,
Trapped in the room,
in
in
the room,
in the interim.
engine room.
Engine room.
The engine room. Oh, cool. That's an image. That's a cool image. And then do you want to show us your ally?
Ally is just a heart with green light going out in all directions.
Nice. And what was the message of the ally in response to the doubt and the
The message was, I will help you dissolve your self-centered concern at a pace that you can handle.
self-centered concern of what?
At a pace that I can handle.
At a pace that you can handle. Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Beautiful.
Exercise.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Paul. It's beautiful. So we can return when we drop in, when we find a rich so-called demon to work with, we can work with it again and again, not expecting it to be the same every time. That's really important. So Paul, you might want to, same with you, Darren, you might, and a lot of us might want to, what Lama Tsultrim says is work with it for 30 days. Once a day, like in the morning as your meditation practice, or in the evening before bed, whenever. Revisit it. Feel that feeling of, I'm just going to call it doubt to simplify it, but feel that feeling of doubt in your body. It might change from day to day. So come to it fresh without expecting anything and see what happens. See how it evolves. Draw it, write about it, and then you can see how it shifts and what you learn along the way. Yeah. Yes.
So speaking as someone who's probably in the 3rd percentile of people who really can't draw,
Oh,
I
come
found
on.
that when I was drawing the and my wife's a fabulous artist, which is hilarious. But I found when I was drawing the demon, like it very fast and very like a lot of, and then it was just done. And then I sat there,
Yeah.
and hearing everyone else around me, and the demon was going, "You could do better. What are you doing?" But I was just like, and then the same thing when the ally, like it was done, right, pretty quickly, much looser, softer, and then everyone was like, and I'm like, it's okay, like you could do it again. It could be better. Like it doesn't, like when you said like it can be changing, and I'm like, yeah, but there's no way I can do that because it's already there. It was just totally fine.
It was complete.
It was
Sometimes they're like that.
and it was just,
it's
but
okay.
even if it wasn't complete, it was fine because I know I could do it more. And like, it was just very different. Like
Yeah.
From the allies' perspective and the demon's perspective, my lack of drawing ability were met with very different sort of like
Good. Yeah.
feeling tones. And
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fine. Everyone else is trying to be better. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. The ally is your true
Yes.
nature. You are your ally. Yes. Say your name for us.
I'm Debbie.
Debbie.
I was appreciating that ahead of time you kind of guided us through that things will come up and just deal with them. Because I found myself constantly, things came up and I was like,
should I, that's, no, that's not right. And then, oh no, I'll just go with it. So
Good.
I had like a demon of deception that kept shape-shifting and turning into all these things. Deception of myself and others.
Yeah.
And was blue, and then shifted into, it had all these weird dots on it, and then it shifted into a teenager with pimples all over his face. And then I dissolved and was feeding him more. And then turned into a baby that I was nursing. And it just kept going into all different things. And the same thing with my ally. It was like my ally was kind of Mother Earth. But when I looked into her eyes, like she became the universe. And it was just this whole, it was really, really nice to just go with all those things.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yes.
Hi. My name is Samira.
Samira.
One of the things that was really interesting when you changed position,
Yeah.
when I was in the seat of the demon, is I immediately felt like you gave us that prompt, how does it feel to be in the demon's body?
Yeah.
And it was like loneliness and pain, and that surprised me because I had, the drawing, the demon was a demon of self-disgust, and it kind of appeared in this, like, it was a little bit out of like a Studio Ghibli movie or something, like very dark, and I felt like I knew what this demon was. I got it down on paper, but when I was in its form, I felt how much suffering was there. And then immediately tapping into that, it started to change.
Yes.
So that was really powerful.
Yes. Yes. Really taking the seat is so powerful and important. Sometimes people think, oh, I'll just do it in my head and I won't actually switch positions. But there's actually a legitimate reason. There's some term for it in therapy. Maybe people know it here. I don't remember it. But like, it's like directional, like perspective. It shifts the brain and you can be more, you can access that being. What is it called? That's one way, but there's another word that I'm not, something about proprioception or something, So thank you for sharing. And it shows us the humanity of these so-called demons that we think are so evil. They're really not. They're lonely, they're sad, they're angry, they're part of us that never got met. So, yeah, thanks. Well, my friends, okay, one more back here, yeah.
My name is Jill.
Jill, hi.
I'm surprised that my demon was a baby, which was my sister as a baby, who has passed. And I felt like part of what led to her untimely death was the demon of lack, and like always feeling like she needed to work harder and make more money, and at the expense of her own health and well-being. And when I tried to feed that demon, it couldn't receive any of it because it wasn't really me. It was like her spirit that was already raised up somewhere else. And like I tried to feed the nectar to it, and it just sort of like baby vomited it back onto me. Like you take this. Like, I can't receive it. I couldn't in this life, and I can't now.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a combination of just accepting her and being like, I get to be different.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's when you with the can I ask you something about that, Jill? Thank you for sharing. And do you feel open to me asking a question just to understand a little more? So, okay. So the first step do you mind sharing what the demon for you was? You know, the idea is that you're working with something that's blocking your experience of freedom. So what was that in your body? Unsafe.
Lack, not enough.
Not enough.
Enough to make me feel safe.
Yeah, so that's a part of you too, right? That lives in you too. And then when you allowed it to take form in front of you, it became your sister as a baby. So you saw, in a way, it's like, oh, that mirrored a part of yourself that you saw in her. Is that correct? Yes, sometimes, thank you. Sometimes sometimes the demons don't want to be fed. It can be a little challenging sometimes when there's a bit of rebellion or an inability to take it in. And I don't know if you heard me, but sometimes I say this, and it can help. Is to remind, you almost talk to it, like remind it, this is what you said you really wanted. So why are you resisting? Because you're feeding it the nectar that has the quality of the answer to that third question, which was, how will you feel when you get what you really need? So sometimes it can take a little coaxing, like, remember you said that you would feel loved when you finally felt satisfied, for example. And then the baby or the demon might be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just try. I'll just give me a spoonful. I'll try it, or whatever. Yeah, I've worked with clients who have been like, I don't want to feed that thing. It's going to get too big, But that's the illusion that if we feed it, it'll get bigger and stronger. But actually, that which we resist persists, right? So by resisting and trying to starve these things, they get bigger and stronger. But if we turn towards it, dialogue with it, meet it, and then feed it that underlying feeling that it would have when it got what it really needed, that is healing. You're not, like, if it's an addiction to a cigarette demon, I always give this example. I'm just old example. Sorry for everybody who takes my class a lot. Like cigarette, maybe you're addicted to cigarettes. So the demon of addiction to cigarettes might say, well, what I want is a cigarette, dummy, Okay, but then what I really need, okay, what's the need? Oh, what I really need is a feeling of centering that the cigarette smoking gives me, for example. Okay, so that we're getting a little bit deeper here. Okay, so then the third question is, how will you feel when you get what you really need, right? So when I get what I really need, meaning that feeling of centering, I will feel at peace or complete just as I am, or confident, whatever, And then it's the confidence, let's say it's confident. It's the confidence that we feed the demon to complete satisfaction with, not the cigarette. And that's how it's healing, rather than making a bigger addiction of cigarettes. You see? So we're a little over. I'm sorry. I wish we had more time, but I want to respect your time. Thank you, everybody, for your courage, for coming and doing this in a group. Not an easy thing to do. I hope you found it enriching. There's so many more resources for you to go deeper with this. We do this once a quarter here, and then I also am thinking about offering a workshop. We go deeper. Sometimes we do clay with this. You know that like kindergarten clay that doesn't make a mess? It's really cool, actually. It's better than Play-Doh, but kind of like Play-Doh. You can sculpt your demon. And we do it with the eyes closed. And then when it comes time to sculpting the ally, we use the same material. We use the demon and we reform it as the ally. And that really gives you that visceral feeling of like, oh, these aren't two different things. The demon is the knotted up energy of the wisdom, the ally. So I want to do more art with this. Yeah, you like that? Good idea. Would you come? Okay, right on. Good. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to see your art. I love it. Yeah, Medusa. Yeah, feel free to come up and show me your art. Oh.
This is like
art class.
Isn't it? I know. I love that. Amy, hi.
Shane with his nasty little
Beautiful.
red eyes.
Kind of hiding with only its feet showing.
And Athena, Pallas Athena.
What? She's
my
gorgeous.
eye.
I love her.
She says, you just be big and strong.